Hello YouTube, my name's Trilane, this is Dota 2, and this is an introduction to Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor is an intelligence-based support hero who's very good throughout the game. He scales very well into the late game. He's very good at buffing up his allies' damage. Generally, you do not need to be very greedy on him. Things like arcane boots and stuff are often rushed, and are actually, in my opinion, unnecessary. In this game, just to clarify, the Azuma guy on our team, he's not part of our party. Everybody else is, because we're friends and that's just how we play. He's bad and suffering from lag issues, and he is very quickly not going to do anything in our game. So basically this is going to be a 4v5, and we are going to win this game. Part of it is going to be through my play, and part of it is just going to be through the synergy in our lanes. I'm going to be running as a defensive Trilane Support, and you're going to see a fair amount of how to play in that sort of role, how to play versus a long laner, and a particularly weak long laner, in this case a Razor. Even if it was a strong long laner like a Batrider, we'd still have a lot of chances to kill him off. And basically that's what we're going to do. So a bit about Witch Doctor: he's very good at stunning multiple heroes. His first skill is very good for that. He has a pretty shit heal. I'm not gonna lie guys, the heal's pretty bad. Lots of points in it. Is practically worthless, and it's basically a waste of skill points. Stats is very important on Witch Doctor because, as you can see, he's not very statsy. He's quite easy to kill off. He's quite weak. Maledict is a great AoE debuff that you can use on the enemy that will increase the amount of damage they take, and Death Ward is very powerful. It is a very powerful ultimate to nuke. Basically it's a channeled continuous barrage, essentially. It is it's quite unusual, but it's very powerful. So if you look on the map right now, if you look at my position, I'm positioned around the side of the lane. I'm moved into the lane a little bit then, but if I position myself around the side of the lane, you can see there I'm going to harass him from the side, even though Punishment's losing damage from this, which is not really great. This is a bad situation for him, but Razor is a sort of standard long lane hero. It's a little bit unusual. You don't often see it anymore. It's sort of an old thing, but you can see if I stand at the side of the lane here, whenever I right click him, the creeps don't aggro to me because of the range that I'm right clicking from. And wow, that Azuma guy actually got first blood. I forgot about that. He proceeds to be useless for the rest of the game though, so don't worry guys. So every time I stand at the side of the lane here, it doesn't affect the creep equilibrium, and this is very important, especially when you're level 1 harassing. If you do that, it's if you do it from your lane, it's actually really bad to do. So every time we see this Nact guy, we're just going to, the supports should just continuously right click him, and this is it makes it very possible to kill him. It also reduces the amount of heal that he has. If he tries to contest us, we'll just go for a kill. So here he's going to contest Ashe. The stun's already thrown from one of us, and we're going to continue to contest him, and Punishment picks up the kill there. So it's a very easy kill for us. That puts me up to level 2, Ashe up to level 2, and Punishment up to level 3, which at 2 minutes in is pretty okay. One thing I wanted to talk about as well, our camp was warded, so what we did, what Ashe did actually, is what's known as a pull through. When the creeps get low in the standard pull camp, which you can just sort of see off to my right here, and again, every time I'm going to go right click him, I'm doing it from the side again. This is really important. Here we're going to go for a kill on him. Ashe is going to go in for the stun, I am as well. And then I'm going to throw down Maledict as well, because I was a little bit worried that we wouldn't have the damage to kill him. It didn't look like we did, but the Maledict does kill him off. So again, every time he puts himself up to try and contest the lane, if you have a good tri-lane like this with lots and lots of stuns and a fair amount of damage, you'll very quickly kill people off. So a pull through is essentially you pull with a single stack of creeps in the in this normal pull camp here. This is bad on its own. You should never really do this unless you're going for a push, guys, because it will not kill off the creep wave, and it will make the lane push, and it will give the enemy team more experience rather than less. What you do then is you pull the creeps from this hard camp here. This can only be done on this side, by the way. It's done differently on the other side. You pull the creeps from that hard camp back to the normal creep pulling wave as they're here, and basically the idea is your creeps end up at the pull camp when you these neutral creeps, and end up at the pull camp when you just as the normal pull camp is dying. The large camp will always kill off a creep wave, so you can do a bit of right clicking on the large camp as well. If you do it right, you'll get more experience. You'll be able to creep pull more often. You can do it straight away from 30-second mark pretty much. So another thing you can do as well is side pulling. You can side pull using the hard camp as well. You can do it through any of these entries here, here and here. It's kind of hard to do. You have to time it based on when the wave is there. The standard time to do it at is, I believe, the 55-second mark. So it's a little bit unusual to do. It won't stack the camp because you're pulling it through the back here, and you do have to break trees on this. So again, every single time the Razor comes up to contest the lane, we're going to go for a kill on him. I put my Maledict down again. And this is very, very simple how we're doing this. We continuously just, any time he goes to contest the lane, we just go to kill him off again. And that was a little bit dangerous then. Pun could have actually been killed off by that satire. Now the reason we're doing so much in the way of pull throwing and such is because we didn't get sentry wards early enough, and he warded our pull camp. None of us started with sentry wards. So when he warded our pull camp, we had to basically either not get enough experience in the lane or, you know, opt to do that. So here I've picked up level 3, Ashe has done that as well. This is not particularly great. We want to both get up to level 6 as fast as possible. But obviously on support heroes it's okay to, you know, get up to level 6 by even the 12-minute mark. If you're later than the 12-minute mark, things can get very, very dangerous unless your carries have a lot of farm. So again, I'm trying to look for when I can do the side pull here. I'm basically timing it by the amount of creeps left in this lane here. So I have to wait until the creeps aren't fighting to do a side pull, because otherwise their natural reaction is to fight the enemy creeps rather than to fight the neutral creeps. I'm still looking for an opportunity here, and it looks like we messed up with the sentry ward as well. It looks like it's kind of maybe placed too close to it. But here I decided that there was no chance to actually do the side pull, so I'm just going to try and stack this camp on the bottom here. It does look like, no, it did not stack, so that was a misstack from me, which is a little bit bad. And I right clicked it once too many times then as well, and I went to check this and there was no, the sentry is not in range of the ward inside. That's because the sentry range got nerfed, so it's a little bit harder to de-ward and stuff now. I think Ashe was the one who did it, so you can flame Ashe in the comments if you want to. But currently I'm up 2-0, and in our lane we have 3 kills, which is very, very good. This is pretty much perfect, and you can see the result of that is that the Razor is unable to contest the lane that he was in and has had to go to a different lane. And this is pretty much the ideal situation. It means that whenever we want to, we can push the lane without anyone defending it. It means that we have free to do our creep pulls and we can get as much XP from the lane as possible. Now, as far as skills that Witch Doctor has, skills are Paralyzing Cask, Voodoo Restoration, Maledict, and Death Ward. I already mentioned these, but Paralyzing Cask, essentially you use it on a single enemy target. It's a 1-second stun, but it will bounce up to 8 times when you've maxed it. Each time it does 50 damage to heroes. It does different amounts of damage and a longer stun to creeps, but that doesn't matter. It does mean that you can, you know, after getting 2 or 3 levels in this, you can jungle with Witch Doctor, but you can't do it from level 1. That would be very, very silly. You are not a jungler, you are a support hero. It just means that you can use it to farm some like large stacks and stuff. But basically the idea with this stun is to use it when the enemy are grouped up together or with their creeps, and it will continuously bounce around. If it bounces 8 times and there are 2 heroes there, you've essentially just stunned 2 people for around 4 seconds each for only 1 stun. So the Paralyzing Cask, it can be just a 1-second stun if you use it on someone who's completely on their own. It can also go all the way up to an 8-second total stun if you use it on multiple people. And here, this Azuma guy, we told him to pick a long laner because like that's what we obviously needed because we didn't have a long laner, and he's just dumb. So Ollie's taken over the long laning now, which is not exactly ideal. But he just went there because Azuma came to his lane, and now he's come to our lane. But we said, you know what, fuck it. With this, we may as well go for a push. Looks like Pun's picked up his Hand of Midas here and is sending that out to himself as well. It's a little bit slow, but not really a problem. We're doing absolutely fine in this lane. This is pretty much how you would do things normally. Obviously we wouldn't normally have this friggin' random morphling coming to our lane. Now what you're going to see here is how to delete the creep wave. You can see the paralysing cask is pretty strong against it, and because we have the catapult here, you have to time these pushes for when you do have the catapult. Nobody was able to defend it because they know that our Trilane will kill any single defender that comes, and might even kill, you know, multiple people. It's a very, very scary defensive Trilane. So as far as other skills go, Voodoo Restoration, guys, it's a crap heal in a radius of 350 around you. It's pretty short, it's not very good. It takes away 8 mana, upscaling up to 26 mana per second, which is a fair amount. Like, that's a lot. And it heals for 16, scaling up to 40, so it doesn't even scale very well. It starts off doing double the heal of the mana that it costs, and it falls down lower than that. So it's actually a pretty bad skill. Maybe picking up 1 point in it is okay, guys, but really your priority is definitely maxing Paralysing Cask and Maledict as soon as possible. Maledict, I'm not going to go through this exactly, but basically it is a curse that will do more damage to the enemy depending on the amount of damage they take from other sources as well. It does do some damage on its own, it's not very much, but basically the idea is that it does an extra scaling up from 16 to 40 bonus damage for every 100 HP they lose. This basically means that when it's maxed, it's a 40% increase in the amount of damage they take, and that's magical or physical or any other type of damage, it doesn't matter. And here, if I hadn't missed my Maledict here, I forgot about the bad cast animation, we would have killed Nact then. So that was a mistake from me, and I essentially just fed them a Morphling, but I don't really care because the Morphling should never have come here. And the Morphling is not a sensible man in the slightest. He's going to stick around level 6 for the next eternity. And now that they used their... Ollie bought back for that kill, I think. I can't remember if he bought back for it. No, I think he was still alive anyway. But he does ulti and we pick off that kill. So we're now 5-1 ahead, despite the fact that we're very soon going to be, one player down. And that's okay, because we do have quite strong snowball heroes and we have quite strong heroes in general. So at this stage of the game, I'm just trying to get myself as much XP and golds as possible, really. We've gone past the laning stage, we already took the tier 1 tower down. As far as items that I would suggest, guys, obviously pick up early boots as soon as you can. Make sure the courier's upgraded beforehand as well. Make sure you've got wards, make sure you've got counter wards. Next items that I would say to go for. An urn is very, very strong on Witch Doctor. It gives you percentage-based mana regen, which, coupled with the fact that he has very, very high int gain, and that you generally don't need arcane boots on the hero. I'll explain in a little bit why that is, but you don't need arcane boots on Witch Doctor, guys. It's really unnecessary. Things like an urn or a magic wand are very, very strong. In this game I'm going to go for a bracer because I think somebody else is going for an urn. Here I TP to the bottom lane without saying to my allies, and this is going to result in a bad fight for us. If I just said to my allies, we can go, we can go, we can go, it's very, very easy for the Wisp Chaos Knight to turn up to this a lot earlier. I probably wouldn't have died and they'd have probably got a couple kills, because this Kuvlad guy would probably have died faster, so would Seeksy, and Nact would not have been able to get this kill. You can see Punishment there actually died to the passive, and the Wisp died as well, so... Oh no, he didn't, he TP'd back from the thing. Nact is like practically gonna die there, and that's when Ollie does his buyback kill. So he's like, screw this shit, let's kill the Razor. Ollie bought back and ultied for it. So I don't have level 6 yet, it's 11 minutes into the game, almost 12 minutes. This is not particularly great, but the idea that we've been going from is prioritize levels on the Wisp as far as supports. Witch Doctor is perfectly fine from a 5 position support standpoint. He does not need much in the way of levels, he does not need much in the way of farm. Level 7 is pretty much the point when you're strongest on Witch Doctor. Getting to level 11, getting to level 16 is also very important, but using extra levels in Voodoo Restoration is not necessary, guys, you don't need it. And the Death Ward is already good from level 1. Yeah, obviously it scales up much, much better, but it's not necessary. It is possible to do an almost carry like Witch Doctor if you're really, really far ahead the enemy and get things like a really early Aghanim Scepter, but it's really unnecessary, guys, and it's not very reliable as well, because it is a channeling spell, which means anybody with a stun can turn it off. Here I came to Ollie's lane just for a little bit of XP, just to try and you know, pick up my death ward. So they're going for a push on the bottom tower here. I think we're gonna glyph, and then yeah, someone's glyphed. I don't know who it was, but we've glyphed on the bottom tower. So me and Ollie are going to be heading our way. You can see everybody on the map is converging there because we know there's at least 3 people there, but they're going to back off at this stage, so that's okay, I guess. Let's look at the level of the Morphling. He's level 7 now, guys. I don't think he's going to go much above this for a while. He like goes AFK in the fountain, and then he like disconnects multiple times. Stuff happens, you know. Now, I talked about earlier how Arcane Boots, actually this is an important fight here. We go on these 2 people here, look at my positioning. I know that the enemy are up on this hill, but I'm not going to run up aggressively for it. Because I'm a support hero, and because I still only have 700 HP, well, just under 800 HP and only 2 base armor, running up a hill like that is pretty much certain death if the enemy are defending it. It's only a good way of feeding. I want to stay behind my allies pretty much all the time in fights. I want to be there for when the chronosphere goes off so I can stun people. I want to be last to fight as well because of death ward. So this is actually coupled with why I think Arcane Boots are really unnecessary on a Witch Doctor, guys. As a hard support, you're pretty much always at the very back of the fight. Witch Doctor has no spammable nukes. You could argue that Paralysing Cask is fairly spammable, but everything else is on a fairly long cooldown. Maledict 35 seconds, Death Ward 80, and Voodoo Restoration sucks, so don't bother getting it until you've got a lot more levels. Here I placed a ward and we're actually going to go on this guy, so again, more important stuff happening, I apologise. And here, Kuvlad was starting to beat punishment, so I do use my ultimate. We get stunned, but we get the kill, and because I used my ultimate as early as possible there, because I knew that we needed to get that kill, when this guy uses the lasso on me, he doesn't have any allies because we've already killed off his allies, and he's basically going to give up a 3rd kill then, when he really should have just realised that his allies were dead and just left them. There was nothing that he could do in that situation. Even though he went on me and lassoed me, it just ended up being further kills, and here I pick up the tower instead of this guy. So I'm going to pick up Treads. Again, I still haven't talked about why you don't need Arcane Boots on all support heroes, especially heroes like Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor is basically a team fight based support hero. Using Paralysing Cask is the most important thing. Afterwards, Maledict and Death Ward, of course, both very, very strong. Now if you're standing at the very back of the fight and you use Paralysing Cask on the enemy, it's a long-term disable on the enemy team. You aren't likely to need to use it again. If you then use Maledict and... sorry, I'm not clicking on my own hero here. If you then use Maledict and then use Death Ward, you won't use up your entire mana pool, which is fine, it doesn't really matter if you do anyway. And if you lose the fight after using Paralysing Cask, Maledict and Death Ward, and you were in a good position, your Arcane Boots were essentially meaningless anyway. The only reason to get Arcane Boots on a Witch Doctor is so that you can increase the mana of your allies around you. Generally there are other supports who can do that, and it's not always necessary for your supports to be able to do that as well. It's not... supports are not, you know, your World of Warcraft healers and stuff. They are very, very different. They provide you disables, they provide you lane control, they provide you early game, and they provide sort of team fight control. And that's essentially what Witch Doctor is. You can see, if these were enemy heroes, these guys would all be stunned for a second then by a Paralysing Cask, and it would be very, very strong. If you use Maledict immediately afterwards, and you've positioned yourself at the back of the fight, nobody is going on you because you're at the very back of the fight. It's hard to get to you because your allies are in front of you, and you're not worth focusing anyway. Generally at this point the enemy will have used a lot of their stuns, and if you then use your ultimate, which is the channeling Death Ward, if they have any stuns left, yes, they're going to try and use it on you, but generally you would hope that the enemy don't have any stuns left, and you would try to time using the Death Ward for when they don't have anything that can stop you. If you do this, you will not run out of mana. You will always have the mana to do this combo, guys. If you have, you know, just a few stats, you know, here I have Power Treads and a Bracer. That's +3 int. I have a... Okay, so in total I have +6 int, and I have more than enough mana to use all of these. If I do that, and I do that correctly, we will win the fight. Pretty much guaranteed, because multiple heroes on their team will be disabled. Multiples on the heroes on their team will be taking a lot extra damage, and Death Ward does a lot of damage, guys. It's a channeling spell. It puts up a ward in front of you where you use it, and that ward does a shit ton of damage to any heroes that it sees. I think it just any enemies. No, it prioritizes heroes and it uses it on heroes. So yeah, it only works on heroes. So if you have arcane boots in that situation, it makes no difference. However, if you have things like a bracer or an urn and things like power treads, generally stuck them on strength, which, you know, you can see I'm not running out of mana at all this game, and whenever I am, it's after we've already won a fight. If you do that on Witch Doctor, what will happen is you will pretty much never run out of mana. The only time you will is after a fight. Here I got caught out of position because I'm an idiot. But you can see here, even though I've used my stun, this is basically 4-second stun on the two heroes there, because it's divided between the two that they're going on. So Punishment's going to pick off this kill here. He's going to struggle to get it because of the turn radius and all that stuff, so I think Ollie's going to actually have to steal that one from him. Yeah, Ollie's... oh no, Ollie didn't manage to get that kill. That's surprising. So instead they're going to go on this guy. This guy dies instead. See? You know, you've just got to pick and choose sometimes. But if you do that, guys, and you have power treads and a bracer, it means that if the enemy team do not have a stun, you will not die. If the enemy team do have a stun, they'll be able to cancel your ultimate, but you've still done the majority of your work that you need to do. You still put off a paralyzing cask, which has a total of 8 seconds of stun on the enemy team, and you still put off a maledict, which can be a sort of 32% or even a 40% increase in the amount of damage the enemy team take. So, like I said, guys, you're not often spamming off these nukes. You're using them strategically in team fights. You're using them in ganks occasionally, although Witch Doctor generally doesn't go in and participate in many ganks. Early on he does, but later on he's pretty much there as a pure team fight support. If you're using arcane boots, the only reason you'll ever use them is to either, you know, jungle a bit with your paralyzing cast continuously, which is a waste of your time as a support hero because you shouldn't really be farming. There are 3 core heroes on a team. Those are the 3 that should be farming. Here I got a stun on this guy, so this is another dead hero that we're going to get. A strong thing about Witch Doctor is the long range on his paralyzing cask. And here, at this point we were like, hey guys, carry Witch Doctor incoming, but it's slightly carry Witch Doctor-ish, but it's unnecessary to go for things like arcane boots and stuff, because as long as you're surviving the fights and you're not getting disabled, Death Ward does the damage anyway, and things like BKB and stuff are nice, but they don't actually serve any purpose. And here I use Maledict because I was like, haha, I shall regen the mana, and I felt bad about picking up a regen rune with no reason to get it. So as we progress into the mid game, guys, I'm pretty much just trying to, you know, play very, very safe. You can see my positioning has pretty much been safe the entire time, apart from that one time I got caught out in the enemy jungle. I'm continuing to max Maledict as well as Paralyzing Cast. After this, I will maybe get 1 level of Voodoo Restoration, but mostly I will go for stats. Again, the range on Witch Doctor's skills is pretty good, but the range on Death Ward is not. You have to get yourself up into the grill of the enemy team. The enemy team don't have a huge number of stuns. They have 3 stuns, 3.5 I guess you could say, because Lift can stun other people as well sometimes. So I don't have to worry about that. I just need to be as tanky as possible. Otherwise, things like people like Razor or Nakes can very, very quickly kill me off while I am using my Death Ward, and I really want to be able to avoid that. I'm also making sure that I do all the warding for my team. This is because Wisp is generally a slightly greedier support than most other supports. Items on Wisp are essentially items on the hero he's tethered to in a lot of ways. So here we are going to go for this gank. And you can see again I'm positioning myself behind everybody, even behind Ollie, who's very, very squishy. I am going to throw stuns out on the enemy team. I'm going to use my ulti to help finish off the enemy carry. I didn't throw myself in, I didn't do anything until the fight had already broken out for a fairly long amount of time. You can see it's made no dent really in my mana pool. It's going to regen up fairly slowly. We have other heroes on our team who have things like arcane boots, so I don't particularly need that. And here I just want to try and save my allies. Here I'm going to try and do it for Ollie. And I think at this point I'm going to actually sacrifice myself for Ollie. Yeah, I do sacrifice myself for Ollie here, and this is perfectly acceptable, guys. Some of you might be thinking, well, why did you do that? You just died. Ollie is the solo mid, and therefore more important to me. The positions are basically your carry is the 1 position, the most important hero, the guy who has the priority farm. The mid is usually the 2 position, He is the second priority for farm, and he is to create a lot of space on the map as well as do a lot of damage. The offlaner is the 3 position, and generally they have a lot of very different roles, but often they're there as pushers, they're there as gankers, they're there as teamfight initiators. They need a fair amount of farm, but it's not a huge amount. 4 and 5 position. 5 position is what I'm playing as the supports. The 4 position, Ashe in this case, needs a little bit more support. Needs a little bit more items, whereas a Witch Doctor needs no items. You can get away as a Witch Doctor if your positioning is right with literally nothing but boots. A wand is nice, but you can get away with nothing. Items that you want to build are maybe aura items and HP and such, but otherwise it's pretty much pointless. I see a lot of people playing very, very greedy on Witch Doctor, like I said, getting arcane boots, going for Aghanim Scepter, big items like that. It's utterly unnecessary, guys. Buy a fuck ton of wards for your team whenever you can. Make sure the map is warded, make sure your team see the enemy and they don't see you. And make sure that you're always in position to fight. Here again, we're going for another fight here. I'm just going to right click this Batrider again, positioning myself so I don't need to do anything. Now I make a little bit of technically a mistake, because we could have been getting backstabbed then by following up the ramp when I knew I didn't need to, but it's going to be okay. And here again, I'm using my stun, and this is again a technical mistake. You shouldn't really do this, guys. So I'm using my heal here. You can see what I mean. It's a pretty shit heal. If you really want to play Witch Doctor as a healer, then go for your arcane boots, whatever. Here, finished off my drum. I pretty much picked it up because, again, small auras are useful, but I don't want to go for anything too expensive. And I am going to be dewarding up here as well. This is a smart move from me. You should always deward whenever you can, and that's a standard ward position. It means that we have a good vision, particularly around this area now, and one of the safest camps that the enemy would normally farm, we now have it warded. Of course, the enemy do kind of know that if they've been paying attention to the map. I'm on int treads here, just to regen up a little bit for this fight. Again, throwing my stun off to help aid in the pushes here is pretty important. You can see the Azuma guy's been missing forever, and it's not mattered to us at all because he was rubbish. Here we've been initiated on. I'm waiting until the fight is properly broken out. Now it has. I've gone around the side, thrown off my stun. Now I'm going to put down the ultimate. This is because the Maledict wasn't going to be as important. I'm going to pick off 2 kills from this. Sadly, because we don't have all our heroes and we just generally, it was a slightly bad fight for us. We got double initiated on. We do fare quite badly from that, but either way, I picked up 1700 gold from that, pretty much, which is a fair chunk of gold. And we did manage to kill 2 off. That was pretty much down to me. Whenever you're positioned in that sort of situation, guys, you want to come in just at the right moment. I think I should have moved in slightly earlier. I moved in just a little bit too late. But even so, we do still win the fight, and things are okay. And you can see Azuma still sitting here. What level is he? He's level 9, guys. Sorry, my mistake. He's a little bit behind on farm, and I think we were messing with him right now. We're messing with his character because he's look, he's back, guys. He's gonna sit AFK and then he's gonna disconnect in again. Oh no, he's reconnected. Has 2 minutes left to reconnect. Okay, I don't understand, but it doesn't particularly matter. So I have 1700 gold now. As far as items that I do want to go, I am accruing a fair amount of gold. We are a little bit behind. I will want to try and pick up an Aghanim Scepter if I can. It's dangerous to go for this item, but in a situation where we're really, really quite possibly going to lose this, where, like I said, just because we're ahead now means nothing. We are essentially behind in this game, and Punishment, whilst he's pretty strong, isn't managing to be able to get many ganks off with the Wisp. This is because most of their heroes are very maneuverable. Batrider has a Blink Dagger, Lifestealer's hard to lock down, Faceless Void has a Time Walk, Razor can run very fast if you use abilities on him, it slows you. The only one they can actually freely always guarantee that they're going to be able to kill when they go on him is in fact going to be the Rubik, which is only a support hero, almost not worth going on him, frankly. It's a little bit shit to go on him. So again, I'm up to level 14 now, guys. You can see the number of stats I have is a lot. I only have 1 level of Voodoo Restoration. I picked up, maximized my cask and Maledict. Maledict, of course, scales very, very well into the late game. Death Ward is very, very strong as well, and here we're going to actually try and take down Roshan. The reason that we want to do this is because, like I said, we have to end this game now. They are going to outcarry us in the late game anyway, with a Lifestealer and a Faceless Void will beat a Chaos Knight. And even worse than that is that we are down one of our players, essentially. He's still in the base if you look, so... And we're pretty much all just aiming for items that can end the game now. So Punishment's picked up the Aegis the Immortal. I'm pretty much going to try and just make something happen now. I get initiated on here. He doesn't have much in the way of friends, but he does have these two. You can see here how it's really just not worth it for the enemy team to initiate on me. We're going to be able to get an okay fight from this, but I think we just said we may as well back off. It looks like we're actually going to try and use the Aegis. Yeah, we are going to try and use the Aegis up. This is very aggressive from us, but things might go well. I think this is going to be a bad fight for us, yeah. Punishment's going to go down as well. He's caught in it. And basically when I was initiated on, and I'm in a bad position, we die. We lose the fight because the support hero essentially, or one of the support heroes, can't do anything in the fight. And is very, very quickly and immediately killed off. I still only have 5 armor. So despite the fact that I have a lot of HP, it doesn't really make it much of a difference. I guess we're just putting this guy on full agi or something. I think Ollie wanted to put him on full strength so that he could use him as a stun or something. I don't even remember. I have no idea how Morphling skills work in some ways, guys. Like, it's really confusing to read, and I'm just generally not very good at the hero overall. So that fight went bad for us. I have gone for the Aghanim Scepter. It's only because we're doing bad this game, guys. We used one of my illusions there to basically bait and Ash, and Pun slightly misplayed. I think actually no, it was Ash and me. I think Ash was tethered to me, but we get a slight misplay then and do not get a kill that we should have really got. So we're going to have to very soon start pushing, guys, but in the meantime I think I am going to speed things up just a little bit. I'm going to go to 2 times speed here. You can see I'm just playing fairly safe at the moment, stacking camps a little bit. That wasn't a stack actually, it didn't stack. I'm trying to do a little bit of farm and put down a ward there, so we are going to see that. And we are going to turn around and kill those guys. You can see it's very necessary to use Maledict. I am going to turn on my heal for this. If I use heal on the Wisp while he's tethered to someone, it basically double heals them. Because you're healing... You can see here I'm healing the Chaos Knight and I'm healing the Wisp. When Wisp gets healed, the person he's tethered to gets healed as well. So it's pretty strong stuff. So here we're mobilizing for almost a last ditch push. I'm going to keep that up actually because I might use it a few times here. See my positioning again, it's trying to keep away from the team, it's waiting for them to be initiated on. I'm basically a counter initiator at this point. Paralyzing Cask is very, very good. Because enemy teams generally group up when they initiate. Well, all teams group up when they initiate to an extent, and I basically want to be able to counter that. I'm not going... See, I'm staying as far away as possible, pretty much where Ollie is, because Ollie is a lot of continuous burst damage here. I throw my stun off because I saw the Void going in. I'm going to try and get in range to do something, but I don't manage to, and I'm immediately going to use my ulti. I had to. They didn't use any stuns on me. You can see it's continuously doing damage throughout this fight. They're going to focus me now, and they are going to get the kill on me. But we did okay. We managed to take out the Bat Rider, and it looks like they did stun one of us, so that's actually pretty bad. Ollie's going to try and fight this for as long as possible, but I believe Pun is actually... Is he going to take him with him? Yeah, he's going to take him with him. So we're going to see this fight here. They're going to come back for the fight. Looks like they're actually going to change their mind and not go for it. No, Pun's going to go on this Nact guy because he knows he can easily burst him down. He wanted to then go on the Void because, again, he could easily burst him down. He didn't get a chance to, though. And now this is a really bad situation for Pun because they both have bashes. So he's just going to get bashed to death at this point. So possibly should have just gone straight on the Lifestealer then when he came back. But even so, we did manage to take a tier 3 tower from this. I finished my Aghanim Scepter now. So all is okay. It's not bad. It's not good. It's not ideal. We'd like to have taken the racks. If I had managed to get Maledict off before I used my Death Ward, then perhaps we would have been able to. But Maledict's on a relatively short range. It's looks like it's the same range as Paralyzing Casca. No, it's still smaller than Paralyzing Casca. This got buffed recently. So I picked up my Aghanim Scepter now. This basically just increases the damage that it does, as well as this, it also means that it bounces 4 times. This basically increases the damage that Death Ward does by a ridiculously high potential. Death Ward with an Aghanim Scepter is very, very scary. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend you always go for it or anything, because it's usually quite hard to farm up, but I got quite a few kills this game and things just went sort of well, so I am going to manage to get it. And here we're trying to chase after this Bat Rider, but there's no way we're getting this guy. See, we know where he is, but he's such a pain to get. I was trying to hope it would bounce across to him then, but again, it didn't, and he's well out of our reach now, and we should not be here. In fact, things are a little bit dangerous. We're going to get Chronosphered here, and they're going to very easily kill us off. They also stole the Death Ward, which is really, really bad for us. I think someone said they thought it was my Death Ward at first, but despite that, they took a lot of damage. They went to this fight without full health, a fair amount of them. So Pun and Ash are going to try and clean up any kills they can. Of course, these are our only 2 heroes. We only have 4 heroes now, guys, because we're still down. And things are looking worse and worse for us. We're a bit worried about Punishment's item build as well. We think maybe he should have gone proper like damage items instead of Heaven's Halberd and a Helm of the Dominator. The reason for that is basically just because we simply lack damage to be able to kill them off. But as well as that, we lack survivability to keep ourselves alive. And here Ash is going to try for a stun on the Bat Rider, but the Bat Rider for some reason tries to go for him and puts himself in a mildly stupid situation. And they're going to continuously go after this Bat Rider, and we do eventually kill him off after we met him all the way over here. So it's kind of a whiles back. Or a whiles back? A ways back. So again, guys, I want to try and follow up on the fight. You can see there I was initiated on, and things go really, really badly when I'm initiated on. We'd much, much rather see Punishment initiated on. We'd much, much rather see even Ollie initiated on. Really though, we want to initiate the fights. Our team is very, very strong if we initiate the fights and if we just continuously attack them. And I think I'm going to speed things up a little bit again. So this is, again, we're going to go for a gank on this guy. He's got a BKB, so he's like magic immune for days. Here, I do think we're going to actually win this fight though. So that was a really nice fight for us, because they focused the Wisp, who's practically unimportant at this point in the game. Wisp doesn't actually do much himself, he more just sort of makes his allies do much. And as soon as we win a fight, guys, this is something really important that a lot of people don't recognize in games. Whenever you win a fight, say there are 3 heroes down right now, just, you know, make something happen from it. Either take Roshan, push towers, secure map control, or in this case, try and take a Rax, and that's what we're going to be doing. There's no one back to defend them, they've had to teleport people back. They're not trying to counter push in any other lanes or split push or anything like that. And we're actually going to get a Rax from this because they have 3 heroes down, they took a bad fight, and we had the Rax exposed as well because we killed that tower off earlier. So pushing is really important, guys. Like, some people don't realise that. I know, it's kind of surprising. At this point, I pretty much just want to save for buyback. I might buy some other items as well. If I do, it's kind of a bad decision. Punishment's actually going to pick up a Manta style in this game. Now, some people think that's a little bit weird, but if you get a Manta style and a Heaven's Halberd, it's actually a pretty strong combination. It just makes you very, very tanky. And Manta style is very, very good to go on Chaos Knight, helping you break the base, because you just end up with so many illusions. You can end up with 5 illusions and plus yourself, which is very, very good for just sort of going up the high ground and smashing the shit out of everything. It also makes him hard to focus down, which is a nice thing. So you can see here, again, not suffering from any mana issues, even with Voodoo Restoration pretty much constantly on at this point. It just doesn't make a difference. Did I place 2 wards there? Yeah, I placed 2 wards pretty much on top of each other then. And it's pretty much what I should do. Just doing a little bit of creep farming here. You can see the creeps do actually no damage to me anyway, and I have fairly okay mana regen. Just a bit less than half of what Voodoo Restoration cost me, so Now we're back all up again. We all have our ultis apart from Punishment, whose will be up fairly soon. He doesn't need it to fight as well. And we're going to go for another possible push or an initiation fight. And this game's going to end pretty much as soon after we win the next fight, pretty much. So we're looking to do this fight mid, possibly. You can see I'm positioned to assist if ever I need to. And they did de-award the bottom, which kind of annoyed me a bit. So they're going to go on top of the Rubik here. Doesn't look like they're going to be actually able to get him in time, which is a little bit problematic. Okay, no, they are going to be able to get him, so I'm going to go out for a stun. I need to get myself back as soon as possible. Luckily this guy throws me back down, because I want Punishment and Ash to be in front of me. Remember, I use Maledict then on him as well to make sure that the kill is a lot easier to get. So this fight's going to go off again. I'm going to throw off a Death Ward immediately. The stun on this guy 60 here wouldn't have been in any point. It would have stunned him just for 1 second. And we do manage to get the kill from that. So using your Death Ward at the most important points is really, really strong. Using it, especially once they've used Chronosphere, is what I would say is the most important. Because it's quite likely, generally, that you will accidentally Chronosphere one of your allies. I mean, it happens. And the more people they Chronosphere, the less to stun me. And of course it's a very, very strong spell, just to go on me anyway. Here, I do manage to get the stun off on that guy, and I'm going to continuously try and get out while he actually 4-stats me away as well, and we are actually going to get that kill. I'm going to stay around and heal everybody. Now that we've taken the Rex, we're basically just trying to do as much damage as possible. We're a little uncertain of what to do. I think in a few seconds we actually decide, why don't we just take the tier 2 bottom. In this situation, we should have just immediately gone for the tier 2 bottom, but we were in the mid lane anyway, and we just sort of ran up. This is sort of typical bad mistakes pub player thing that people do. We're also slightly hoping that they'll send multiple people into the mid lane to try and contest us, because we'll very easily kill those people if they do.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So yeah, like I said, we should have gone to this lane anyway. Now that we have Ashe here, we are more confident to do it. We're a little bit underconfident to do it because my health was so low earlier. But now that this guy's run away and he's with his friend, again, that double, like, very long duration stun, you can see it's only just ended now. I'm still positioning myself at the back of the fight, so I want it to be as careful as possible. Got another kill, and the only one left up is the Lifestealer. And from this, it looks like to me, we're going to win the game. So that's how to play Witch Doctor guide. That's pretty much, guys, that's pretty much my guide to him. Stay safe, stay at the back of the fights. Do not try to do lots of initiation and stuff. You're generally a counter initiator. In the early laning stage, make sure you get some good pulls off. This hurts. This is mean. That was a really nice play from Ashe here. You can see I'm trying to get my stun off on him as much as possible. Get my Maledict off as well. I'm going to very quickly kill him off. Stay at the back of fights, guys. You don't need things like Arcane Boots. Generally, HP and survivability will serve you a lot better. In the late game, if you have any percentage regen based items, for instance an urn, you will have more than enough mana. In this game I didn't have any percentage mana regen based items, and we still never ever ran out of mana. And this game looks over, and I thought I'd buy some Dagons from the enemy shop here, because everybody knows that's the most sensible thing you can do. I need to turn Voodoo Restoration off though if I'm to get any kills, so picked up a level 4 Dagon, guys, because the game's over pretty much. I know the game's not technically over, but their throne is at like half health. We still have 2 tier 2 towers up, and basically the problem is they just never pushed us this game. Ollie was being a bastard to me then, as you can see. He tried to get me killed, but I survived, for a glorious Witch Doctor is glorious. And it looks like we dived the enemy fountain, because we were pretty happy that we managed to win this game. And so there you go, guys. I hope this has taught you sort of some stuff about Witch Doctor, counter initiation, staying at the back of the team fights, positioning is very important. Some early creep pulls that you saw there that are kind of nice, and commend for Dance Dance Revolution, guys, because That was a joke, by the way. That is in fact a joke. I just find Witch Doctor funny like that. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya, and I hope this has been useful.